Welcome to another episode of Victoria's Lounge. I'm Victoria Rubadiri. We're coming to you from the beautiful Golden Tulip Hotel. Now, she is a veteran in the local media scene. We know her voice from radio and her beautiful smile on TV. She is a force to reckon with, and she proved it when she found her voice again after it was silenced on TV and radio. Sheila Mwanyigha found a new space to be seen and heard, and she is living out loud. We're about to catch up with her and find out what the mediapreneur and the musician is up to. Remember, hashtag Victoria's Lounge is how you can chime into the conversation. Wow, there's so much light in this place.
Yes.
Is it you, Sheila?
Yes.
Yeah, just take
when
it.
in doubt,
own
just
it. Own
take
it.
it.
Yes. But I mean, you're so bubbly, so full of energy. Is that how you've always been?
Yes, I have. By nature, I'm just a happy person. I see the world in color and in music, especially. Even food. I hear music in food.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a gift.
I think so. So if you invite me to your house and I eat the food and I'm not seeing music,
right, that's a bad thing.
It's
then.
a bad thing. There's a problem. But I've just always been optimistic, hopeful, and happy. I choose to see good things, even sometimes in very difficult places.
Which is very necessary for this field.
Yes.
Did the media find you, or did you find the media?
I think of it as God's way of taking me where He needed me to be. And I never woke up when I was little or older and said, I'm now going to do this. No, I never fashioned or crafted a plan that said, from here I'm going to do this, I'll do this, I'll do that. It was just God leading me through a series of events and situations to get me to where He wanted to be. I knew I wanted to be around music. I love music. I love singing. My parents were both musicians in the Kenya Police Band growing up, so there was music in the house.
Yeah.
And when I went to campus, I wanted to find a way to make some money because the Hellblowns were all gone. They said to me, listen, you've got two parents, make it work or you drop out of school. And so you look at yourself as a third year in campus and you imagine dropping out and you've come this far and you can't. And I thought, okay, I can sing. And as little kids, my dad would take us to recording studios to sing in commercials. And I thought, well, I can still hold a tune. Maybe I can audition and get those. And from there, it was one commercial. It opened the door to a song. And a song opened the door to an album and a project with the UNEP. And talking to Caroline Mutoko at Capital FM when she was working at the time opened the door to Kiss FM. And so I know God sent me.
So it was all like an organic path, if you will, just something led to another. And because some people feel, this was my dream from when I was like 5 years old, you know, and this is the way I saw it happening. And life a lot of times is not that way.
No, it's not. I'm a believer. I love God very much, and I know everything He does for me, whatever doors He opens or He shuts, they're because He needs me to do something. He needs me to grow into something. And when that time is up, then we move on to the next. And there's always the next. I'm
glad you mentioned that, because what was a defining moment for you in your career that you can just remember distinctly that made a difference in who you are now?
There have been so many. I will talk about joining Nation from KISS. And Phil Matthews was the head of radio at the time. And when I was in campus, I was a third year student in campus. I remember meeting with him because Capital FM used to have all these wonderful parties and things. And he gave me a cap. It was a Jurassic Park cap. And I kept it until it was falling apart. On the day when he sat with me and he called me and he said, I hear you're looking for a job, a week after leaving KISS. And I showed him the cap and I said, when I was in campus and you gave this cap to me and I used to listen to you in the morning, I used to think, oh my gosh, it would be so great to work with you. And here you are telling me how you're going to mentor me and teach me, and you're employing me, and that I'd better concentrate on what you're going to teach me because I am capable of so much more than just presenting on air.
You were calling something into existence back then.
That I didn't even know. And so I had this opportunity to literally sit at his feet. He'd give me training manuals on the software system. What girl is spending her Friday nights with manuals reading? But that was the story of my life, to make that transition from just on air presenting to the technical side of things, that you can shut this thing down, that you can bring it up, that you can program it, that you can say, no, this format is not working, stop, rearrange everything. He gave me all kinds of responsibilities, and I loved him for that. Second thing happened while I was at Nation. There were auditions for Weather Girl, and somebody said, oh, why don't you go and try it? And so I did. And they found somebody else to read the weather, and obviously I didn't get it. And Phil made a joke of it, and he said, oh, you're much too classy to be a weather girl.
Wow, no shade to weather girls out there.
No shade, of course. But he just said to me, what you're supposed to grow into is not reading the weather. Your personality is far bigger than, and here are a few cold fronts, and there will be thunderstorms, and thanks, good night, carry an umbrella. And so then there came auditions for Tusker Project Fame, and I didn't even know that they were. I was one of the last people to get auditioned for it. And they picked somebody else for the role, and it was fine. And I remember sitting in the house and watching it and thinking, wow, I must have really sucked if this was the best of the best of the best. I know, shading, throwing it by the bucket. But the next morning, they gave me a call and said, okay, we need you to come in, and yes, you're going to do this show by yourself on the Saturday, because Gaetano wasn't there. So I went from never being on TV, I mean, only going as far as whether, test.
Pointing out the different,
thicker. Oh no, that's not thicker. Is this thicker? And suddenly you've got this show, and it's not just in Kenya, and it's across East Africa, and it's live.
And you made the show.
And it was fantastic. And there's always a director talking you through what's happening. We rehearsed the whole day, and in the evening, the communication system died. So I had to go back to what we were doing the whole day and carry that show based on our rehearsals. It was magic.
That's talent,
It was
Sheila.
God. Really, it was. And I knew. And he said to me, I'm going to take you to places where you've not trained for it, you don't have the skill for it, but you will do something with it. But just allow me to work through you.
I mean, what does it take? Because you have a lot of young people watching you right now, admiring what you've done so far. What does it take to make it in this industry? It's not easy, and you've taken us through, several scenarios, but what does it really take?
Faith and God. And you can't have God and you don't have faith, and you can't have faith and you don't have God. It's knowing that you've been prepared for that moment that you find yourself in, that you cannot try to be somebody else. It's you bring your entire being to the table, whether it's on the radio, whether it's on the TV. There can't be no, and I'm thinking of this while I'm doing this. No, you have to be present. It's you're living, breathing. It's running through your bloodstream. That's the difference. And so if you're coming in because you heard somebody and you can speak nice and your voice is good, that's not enough. It's far bigger than a voice and a look. It's in here.
I love that you said that, being authentic to who you are, because people resonate with just that thing, that it factor. What would you say is your it factor, Sheila?
Happiness. It's the bubbliness. And I remember when we were training in radio for the first time, because again, I was a musician, I can go and I can sing, I still am. But going into the radio is a different set of rules, because you've got a very short space of time to impact something on somebody and to be completely memorable to that person, so that the next day they're going to come back and sit with you. And honestly, Victoria, right from the first day that I joined radio, every year there's a new toothpaste from the same brand, because it's refreshed and upgraded and regrouped, and it's the same thing. You're not going to say anything new, but how are you going to say it? What are you bringing to this new thing that is really quite an old thing that will make people remember you and identify with you? And that you cannot be taught. That's again in here, and it comes from God, because there's nothing I did and say, oh God, now I want this one and this one, because you see, God, I'm going here. No, He knows where you're going, and He gives you and opens the things that you should have in the time that you should have.
And I guess being content with your gifts and talents. Like you said earlier, you can't be someone else.
No. And here's a, thank you for bringing that, because when Phil Matthews left and Bob Kyoko left as well, I stepped in and the group tasked me with running the radio station.
Sheila Mwanyigha here. It's always so great to catch up with you. I hope you...
What people don't understand is before Easy FM was #1 for R&B, there was still Easy FM Nismata. And when I took over, I got the station to #1. So
Wow.
it was beautiful.
Yeah.
But it was also looking at myself inside and saying, yes, I know what it takes to get a station to #1, but there are certain things that I'm not equipped with, that I didn't get enough time with Bob or enough time with Phil to learn. And I literally went to the finance officer of Nation and I said, the station is #1, yes, but to stay #1 and to grow bigger, there's a skill set that I would need from someone else in the market. And I suggest that we get this particular person. And he asked me, you're stepping down to give this to someone else. And I said, because I know that there's certain things that this position will require of me and I haven't been
give
trained
right now. Yeah.
and I need to learn. And so I signed the papers for John Wilkins to come in and be my boss at Nation. And from him, I was able to now get to that level where I knew no matter where I go in the world, if I'm ever given a radio station, I'll be fine.
Wow.
I'll be good.
I mean, not many people would do that, Sheila, and I think that's what makes you you. And we're going to find out more about what makes Sheila Sheila. Let's take a short break here in Victoria's Lounge. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Victoria's Lounge. If you're not inspired, there's something wrong. Okay, Sheila, your story is amazing.
Thank you.
Let's delve a bit deeper.
Okay.
You've been very honest about just the struggles of having been let go from 2 jobs.
Yes.
Where you're doing really, really, really well.
Yes. And
How?
how?
Did you manage and navigate through those moments in your life?
Because of God. And you know what, Victoria, I'm so glad that I have nothing to hide about my work and being let go.
Yeah.
And you know, there are a lot of people who will lose jobs for all sorts of reasons. And it's difficult to lose a job, but it's not a catastrophe. And if you look at why you've lost the job and you understand it's got nothing to do with your input, it's got nothing to do with the things that you've done, maybe you failed or you stole or you broke the law or things like that, then you cannot look at it as, oh my God, oh my God.
Right.
No, you look at it and say, God, there were warning signs along the way and a transition was going to come. And in both instances, there were transitions that were going to come. At KISS, before they let me go, there were positions open for a deputy programs controller. And I thought I wanted that position, interviewed for it, and I thought that I'd done pretty well. But again, the group was going through whatever the group was going through. So instead of getting a promotion, well, I got a different kind of promotion. It was a promotion to glory where you're thrown out.
Wow.
But look what happened when that happened.
Yeah.
The position at Nation opened up. Phil Matthews took me in, and I moved from hosting just a morning show, a weekend show, a night show, and he gave me Drive, which is a prime show on any radio station. It had been 4 years working and doing different things at KISS, but not growing into flagship shows. But here was an opportunity, and I'd always worked alone, and now I could learn how to co-host a show with somebody else. And then there was the training in music management and scheduling, things that I didn't get the position and the opportunity to do at KISS. At Nation, I was able to now grow into Tusker Project fame and also working for Big Brother Africa as a field presenter and also working on Studio 53. You know, those things didn't come while I was at KISS. They came after, you know, being thrown out and then joining Nation and now beginning to see different things that God had equipped me to be able to do. There was no more space. And so them letting me go, I can't be upset about it.
I mean, I'm seeing 2 things here. Foresight and then knowing your value.
Yeah.
You know, you had said once, I grew bigger than the pond I was swimming in.
Yes, and that's it. When you start as a little bitty fish, it's a big world, it's a big ocean, and then you know your fins grow a little bit, and then your tail fins got a bit more power, so you're powering across the ocean a lot faster than you realize that, hold on, this ocean is actually a pond.
Right.
And that's not talking or belittling where I've come from. I treasure and I love these media groups because they all helped fashion and make me who I am today.
Right.
They equip me with the skills, they help me meet these people and grow from these people. But then after a certain point, if you can't go beyond that, then you're going to start dying. If your talents are not being expressed in the way that God wants them to be expressed, you start dying as a human being. And you don't die outside physically, you die inside. Your happiness, your joy, it all starts going. And when you're walking into a building, Victoria, and there's heaviness, you're walking into fights, you're walking into justifying why certain things have to, then it's time. It's really time. And because we're all human beings, we're programmed to not rock the boat because you've got bills. Some have got children and you've got responsibilities, and God knew. I mean, He just knew. I was waiting for my marriage to end at the end of December, you know, contractually, because if you cancel the arrangement that I was on, then you forfeit some of your money. And I thought, I've worked really hard for this, so I'm going to sit through this one. Give me the divorce in December. But then the group was like, no, we'll give you the divorce in August. And I thought, okay, that's fine.
Wow.
And go figure it out from there. And there's so much outside.
There's life after.
There always is.
There
always is.
Let me tell you, you have a lot of guts. A lot of guts. Because I remember there was a time I was driving and I look up and I see a billboard.
The billboard.
And I see the gorgeous Sheila, brand ambassador for Vaseline cocoa butter. You got quite a bit of flack.
Yes, I did. But you know what, Victoria, when we did the shoot, because it was the second time that I'd done this for Vaseline, and the first time was with the cocoa butter, and the second time they said, you just pick up the entire range. And the promotion had been chopped into 3 bits. There was awareness, there was a campaign, and then there was awarding whoever was going to be a great winner with it. But that billboard, there was no need for 2 more months. It just did everything that it could. I mean, I don't think they've ever had the kind of sales that
probably haven't.
I mean, and I'll tell you this for a fact. They were our first sponsors on AM Live. So on being on that billboard, it wasn't just promoting a great brand, it was also opening advertising and sponsorship opportunities for everything that I was associated with, because then I was able to pull them in on the show. And if you go to Nation, I think they still have Vaseline lotion on all the floors in the washrooms, and it's a great thing. I mean, it's, you know, not plugging or anything. It's just saying, okay, God, you've asked us to do this, and it goes against, you know, a lot of people's idea and
how do you deal with those people who have their own ways of thinking about that?
Everybody's allowed to think like that. I understand, and from years in the media, I know and must allow people to express things that don't agree with what I think and with what I feel. But my mother and I selected the pictures, and so when people would get nasty about them, I'd think, my mama, who carried me, has got absolutely no issues with this.
Approved.
And who are you? And which army are you from? And my Heavenly Father has decided this billboard gonna be happening. Otherwise, they're gonna be struck down by the lightning. But they were right up there.
They stayed up there.
And they stayed right there because, and that's the other thing that God helped me understand, that no matter what I do, I will make a statement. Some people will agree with it, some people won't, but it has to be done.
I mean, have there been moments or points where those voices from the outside
are loud? Yes.
Did come and did hurt?
Yes, of course. When people who don't know you and who don't understand where you're from and what your family background is suddenly take it upon themselves to say, oh, it's because of this that she is doing this. And I think, no. In fact, who are you exactly?
Those moments literally force you to dig deep.
Yes.
And find out who you are.
Yes. And who you are is so much more than somebody else's opinion, Victoria. Because opinions will change. I love you in the morning. At lunchtime, I don't think I can stand you. In the evening, I'm ready to forgive you.
And boy, don't we know that.
And that's just how it is. But when it's you and your family and your God, there can be no room for doubt. It is or it isn't.
Let's talk. You talked about God. God is love. Is Sheila in love? Is Sheila, you know, we see a glow. something,
Could be my makeup artist.
attributing to that. Yeah, we can actually thank the makeup artist for that.
Thank God for
but there could
makeup
be
artists, they're the
something
best.
deeper in there.
Well, there's, I won't call it a man love because I have been in love before.
Yeah.
And I've learned my lessons. Having certain parts of your life, when you do the job that you do, it becomes almost an unspoken green light for people to say, but I know this about your career and I know this about your work, but I need to now know about your
the other
family and
side.
about the love and about the man. And I've had my mistakes in the past where a lot of my love life played out publicly, and you learn from that.
Yeah.
And so being in love right now,
It's just for you.
It's just for me. There's certain things that you'll say, you already have this I'm going to take, this I'm going to keep. But it's difficult finding love when
Yeah.
you get to a certain profession.
how is
and
that?
a certain
Because
level.
you're trying to figure out whether someone is genuinely
Genuine, yeah. You could either
Interested.
just be the trophy, the bucket list of guess what, guys, she's on my arm.
Right.
And then there are those who have their own insecurities and then they'll project it on you. And I once had somebody take me out to dinner, and after dinner he said, there's no way we can continue dating unless you quit your job. And I thought, not get married, not have kids, not live a life together,
Dating.
but dating. And this is date one. So I'm supposed to go back to my boss and say, I quit because I think I met Prince Charming.
Wow. What do you say to a woman who actually has made that decision? Not that drastic of leaving a job, but literally you lose your identity in a relationship, in a person.
If you lose your identity in a relationship, you have lost the person who you're in the relationship with. When they met you as an individual. There were certain things about you that were you. But the moment you're not this person that they met, and it happens because you've sacrificed and you've made them the center of everything, then you've lost that person too.
Right.
You've not just lost yourself, you've lost him. And as women, you must never lose you. You're not a satellite. You're a helper, not a satellite.
I love
you
that.
know? You're a God. No, it's true. You're not just supposed to be orbiting around this, Earth over here, and then there's the sun. And no, you're a helper, and a helper is not sacrificing who you are. It's saying, I have a skill set for you, and I'm going to help you because you need me to get to where you're supposed to be going. But if I'm losing everything to you, then I'm throwing out my toolbox as I'm walking into the house. What happens when we need to fix the faucet? I threw away the toolbox. Nothing's happening.
Right.
Go move into another house where there's a toolbox that actually works.
Speaking of which, that's a good place to leave it. You moved into a house of your own and created your own space after
Yes.
your voice was silenced on TV and radio.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that after the break. Welcome back. You're watching Victoria's Lounge. We have the beautiful Sheila with us. So Sheila, you actually said, hey, if you're not going to give me a seat at the table, I'm going to go build my own over there and have my own little party.
Yeah, and then just start with who's there and who's not there. They can catch up when they do.
So how did you muster the courage to just start your own thing?
Well, after Nation, I had 3 months to just sort of lie in bed and stop waking up at 4 or at 5, even at 6, which wasn't too bad.
I can imagine.
And then there was a trip to Estonia in January with selected journalists. And we went to this tiny country that's right at the tip over here of this huge, country called Russia. And they are so advanced. When you think about the word digital, you're thinking about Estonia. I'm telling you, it's the most beautiful country I have been to. I mean, Kenya's number 1 and Estonia is a very close number 2. But most importantly, while there, I met journalists like myself, and one of them had a video blog. She's called Terry Moikamban, and she was just talking to me and saying, why don't you do things online? I mean, just because you're not somewhere doesn't mean you've got stuff that you still want to talk about. You've still got a following. Why don't you think about going online? And here we were in this digital economy and digital country and learning about how they've digitized everything, including, you think about it, it's online. Like your Shosho in Shags, she's online. And we were going through presentations where some of what they were telling us about what happened to print in Estonia, what happened to television in Estonia, and also newspapers, mirrored what's happening in Kenya, what started happening in Kenya last year. And I understood, going forward, to be able to be relevant in another 5 years, as a radio station, as a television station, as a presenter, as a producer, you have got to be online. And so I came back thinking online. What am I going to do? God, where do you want me to go? What? Help me. I just know it's online. And so there were two parts to this equation. There was a left leg and a right leg, so that I could walk into this digital age. And so the left leg is called Rembesha, and then the right leg was Sheila Lives Out Loud. Now I'd like to say that it was, I slept and the vision and it came and it was all done,
hit you and it was
do this. No, it was figuring it out. And by May, from January up until May, it was saying, there's certain things that I'm interested in. I'm interested in hair, I'm interested in beauty, I'm interested in skin. If I wanted to look for people within this industry today, if you wanted to find them, where would you find them? Let's try and create a platform where you can find the best of Kenyan practitioners, product givers, product makers, service providers, and say, okay, this is what we do. Here you can advertise your services. But most importantly, give them an outlet the traditional media didn't give them, which was an opportunity to talk about themselves and to advertise. Because if you pick up a magazine today, the costs of advertising on television, on newspaper, even on the radio stations, I mean, some stations will charge you 2 million bob a week and there's a waiting line for that. And it was simply saying to them, you're consuming this media, how about you put yourself in it with rates that you can afford? But in thinking about value, it was, what are the things that I love to do? What has God given me that can still work? When I left Nation, I didn't leave my talent behind. The fact that I love to speak to people, I still carry that with me, and I meet with these salon owners and people every day and talk to them. So how about we package this and put it online?
Join me to live, love, and grow.
With Sheila Lives Out Loud, God said it's not just for Rembesha. There'll be stories that I need told, because nobody else will tell these stories. Nobody will make space for these people. Yet there's something about their lives that needs to go forward to others. So can you be a vessel? And that was hard because production is expensive. And God's saying, now give me, because I need to use this, because I'm going somewhere. And so of course the first question is, where are you going, God? Does it have lots of money?
It's a huge leap of faith because you have no idea.
And finally I get it, Vicky. I get it now, because when you work for a group or a station or whatever, there's a path. There's, we'll do this, then we'll get this and this and this, and there are many people pulling in different directions but still going in the same direction. When you're dealing with God, it's you and him and today's step. And so you take that one step, and because you're coming from, and from here we'll do this, and he says, okay, stop. And you think, stop? Why are we stopping? And where's the next step? I can't see it. And that's what walking by faith is, right from the guests. Of all the things I've ever done in my life, this is the one that makes me feel God the most.
Wow. I mean, you're working for yourself, and someone said, when you go into business for yourself, you're your own boss. You work 10 times harder than someone who's employed, but it's so much more fulfilling.
It is. And it's interesting that we're talking about owning a business. I've never owned a business. This is the first time. And am I the owner of this business? No, I'm just the MD. The CEO is God. I mean, when we were coming up with the business cards for Rembesha and saying, okay, so we'll call you the founder. No, I'm not the founder. I didn't make anything. I'm just following instructions. And so I'm just the MD. I manage what he's given me. When he says, okay, you've got enough guests, let's go and record now. I call everybody and they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, we've got a guest list. We need to go and shoot now.
Why the title Sheila Lives Out Loud? Is this a point in your life, a chapter where you feel you need to express yourself in a different way?
It's where I'm taking the best of everything I've ever known, from radio to television to print, and saying, this is it. Every day is different. There are no 2 days that are the same. At some point when you're in full-time employment, you can pretty much figure out today will start like this and end this way. And at the end of the month, there's going to be a check. When you're out and about, there are no two identical days. Every day brings with it its own set of challenges. And so I went once to Gong Hills, and there are these beautiful windmills. And I thought, you know what, come what may, they're bursting with energy. They're powering, the town below and probably the city as well. And they're just full of life. And they keep going round, and they see the sunrise and they see the sunset. And what is our life really? It's about watching the sunrise and watching it set. But in the middle, this should be some fantastic moments. Life is happening in between that sunset and that sunrise. And for me, what is happening? I'm loud and I'm living, and Sheila lives out loud.
Perfect.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I'm like, CEO, is this one from you? Yes. Okay, thank you.
And it works. I'm just thinking, now that you've had this exposure to a different way of working.
Yeah.
What is success to you? I mean, you were in the media industry for 15 years, still are.
Yeah.
Still are. 15 years, you're working for someone else on their own agenda.
Yes.
You've known fame, you've known money, recognition.
Yeah.
What is success to you?
Success is being in God's plan, where you have just allowed Him to use you, where even if there's no thank you, there's no physical, we watched this video. It's just knowing that I did what He wanted me to do.
Right.
That I was there and I allowed myself to be used of Him. And I think we spend a lot of time getting caught up in, let me pay this, let me sort that, let me get this, let me grow into that, let me.
Right.
But then at some point, time is also moving. Why are you here? It's not just about you. Why are any of us here? We didn't create ourselves to be here. So there's a lot more than our own individual needs and wants. There's something bigger. And what's that bigger? The fact that you can open the door for an 8-year-old, the fact that you can say to a colleague and say, I know you're struggling, come sit on the show. See what can happen and can open because of being there. When you can give people they can't give themselves, there's absolutely nothing like it. Nothing.
Advice to someone watching who's trying to figure it out, who probably is where you were last year, have lost it all, at least seemingly.
Yeah.
And are trying to find a way of picking it up again and starting life again. What would you tell them?
First things first, be still. There's no rush to go anywhere. And when you're out of employment, usually there's that feeling, I need to be doing something, I need to. When God needs you to do something, you will do it. But just be still. In that moment, the things about you that God needs to work on, the things He may need to add, the things He may need to take away because your focus was on these things that are not necessarily what He wanted, what He created you for, and because they become the main show, they distracted you from where you should be. So allow Him to add or subtract based on what He needs you to do next. And from there, look at what He's given you. Don't look at the money, look at what He's given you. Because everybody's been born with something. And I'm thankful that He's given me the experiences that He's given me and the networks that He's given me. But everybody has something. It may not be experience. If you look hard enough, there's something that you have, and start working on it, either perfecting it or asking Him to show you what to do with it. Because He'll always, there's no, I don't believe, God always speaks. We're just too busy listening to different things.
You just slow down and actually hear Him.
Let everything go and you'll hear Him.
Wow.
He will be there, and he has a plan for you. And sometimes that plan may mean people have to laugh at you publicly. It may mean that He needs you to come down a few notches, and it's okay.
Right.
Because again, you still have breath in your body. Who's to say that He's not going to take you up?
Very true.
Even if He doesn't, or even if He takes you down a little further, if He's still giving you breath, allow yourself to be used. Because maybe your life should be the lesson in that this is how to be used of God. Because God is not always, oh, and I gave you $6 billion and now you see this is my child, and then this one who barely has 6 cents, that's still his child. He uses us in different ways. And if he's taking things away, again, allowed to be used in that. If he's adding things, again, allow yourself to be used.
Amazing. There's always work to be done, no matter where you are in life.
We're not arrived.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you for giving us encouragement, at least for those who feel like they've reached the end. They can still believe in themselves,
Yes.
even when everyone else has given up on them.
And in fact, that's the best place to be.
Yeah.
When everybody else has given up, are you going to give up on yourself? You have to live in yourself, and you know what you're capable of.
Okay.
So if you give up, then you gave up. Not the world gave up, you gave up.
Perfect. Take that leap of faith and live out loud. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you for watching. I'm Victoria Rubadiri. Thank you to the Golden Tulip Hotel for hosting us. It has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much. Let's do this again next week, right
Oh
here.
yeah, I'll be back.
Oh, she will. Sheila's
just
part
kidding.
of us. Hey,
I'm just kidding.
This is your living room, wherever
Oh yeah,
we'll
let me
be.
just take my shoes off now.
Right? Let's see you next week. Have a wonderful evening.
Home with me. My pictures.
I know.
Sorry.
You know, the talkback had gone.
Boom.
Toka nipige vipi?
See how his life goes when
After